Welcome to Home Organizing for Beginners. I'm Tammy, your home organizing educator. In each episode, I share a microscopic home management topic. That just means it's something you can implement today from start to finish if you so choose. Today's microscopic home management topic is how to get kids to do chores. Different seasons of life require different approaches to getting kids to do chores. When my kids were little, I struggled with how best to get them helping around the house. I felt it was important because, I just wanted them to really have a good work ethic, but it seems that sometimes the message we get from the world around us is that we should, let our kids be kids. Let them enjoy their younger years because when they grow up, they'll have plenty of time to work. This message, along with many other things that I heard or I researched or someone told me, all of it just got all muddled up in my brain and really messed me up. And I wound up really just doing everything myself instead of having the kids help. What that resulted in was me being bitter about all of it. I found myself so frustrated when the kids would walk away after dinner and they would go do whatever they wanted to do, but I stayed to clean everything up. I was so frustrated. Then I would be thinking, this is kind of my own doing. I am in charge, right? Then I would tell them, I would yell at them. I needed them to help clear the table. Then they would whine. I would get mad and yell. They would cry. Then I would cry. It was really, really a sad situation. As a mom looking for a fresh start in her home organizing journey, you want to be set up for lasting home organizing solutions, right? That means you'll have to do something different than you've done before or what society tells us. Instead of yelling at your kids to do everyday chores, you can start small and transition them from doing absolutely nothing to them at least doing something. In today's episode, I'm sharing why chores are important for kids to do, what chores are age appropriate for kids, and a very basic method on how to get kids to do chores. So, why chores are important for kids to do? I feel this list is really, truly endless, but I think I'm just going to touch on a few in the interest of time. So, first of all, chores are life skills. They need to be ready to live life without us. It's really sad to say that now because for us, we're on the cusp of this becoming a reality. Our oldest is going to be graduating in 2 years. So, them living on their own, they need to be independent, right? If they can't cook or do laundry, sweep, clean toilets, and that kind of stuff, how on earth are they going to be able to do it when they are out there living on their own? Second, chores teach kids to care about their surroundings. I'll admit we do struggle with this a little bit yet, but we went far too long with not having the kids do chores. They can be a little bit careless sometimes, a lot careless with our home, with our furniture, and our belongings. Food and drink is kind of the biggest offender. They leave cups in the basement, they leave wrappers laying around. I've come across cups with like lemonade left down in the bottom of it for way too long. And instead of washing the cup because it was so gross, smelly, and moldy, I actually threw it away. It's a little bit embarrassing to say that, but I know that I am not the only one. The kids need to care about things whether they own them or not. Chores make them realize how things can be damaged if they don't clean up after themselves. A third reason why chores are important for kids to do. When kids help with household chores, it alleviates work for you and frees up time to do things together as a family. I spent so many years trying to get everything done so that I could enjoy my time with them. I don't want you to do what I did and find years later you could just never get everything done so that you never really enjoyed that time with them. So we're now in a place where everyone kind of does their own thing, and I sometimes wonder if things could have been a little bit different. There are oodles of more reasons, and I could go on. But again, in the interest of time, we're going to transition over to talk about what chores are age appropriate. I know there are a ton of lists out there on Google. For example, chores that are right for a 7-year-old or a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old girl or a 16-year-old boy. But I would suggest you look at the answer to this question a little differently. Again, what chores are age appropriate? Each child learns things different, right? They learn at a different pace and they learn in a different way, such as one child may excel at math and another at reading. Doing chores really is the same kind of thing. You don't need a list that someone else wrote to tell you if your child can load his or own dishes in the dishwasher. You don't need me to tell you if your child can walk to the mailbox alone and get the mail or not. Do you see what I'm saying? You have this knowledge. You know better than anyone else on the face of the earth what your child is capable of. The better question is if you're ready to let them do it or not. Are you ready for your child to have some independence? Are you ready for that? This is hard, right? Sometimes they're so slow at what they're doing, they don't have the skills to make it happen yet, and sometimes we're in a hurry and we just can't allow them the time, right? But it is so much better when they start out doing as much themselves as they possibly can. Sometimes that hurts my mom heart, but you see them developing, you see them growing and really gaining that confidence in themselves, right? So the bottom line is on what chores are age appropriate. You don't need a list to tell you that. That is the bottom line. You can make that decision because you know your child better than anyone else. Okay, so now you know there are many benefits to having your child do chores, and you know that you can choose what those chores are. Let's move on to how to make it happen, how to get them actually doing them regardless of their age and what season of life your family is in. So I've done it all. I've done a DIY chore chart. I've paid kids for doing chores. I've done an allowance that they lose if they don't do their chores. They've had daily cleaning chores, weekly chores. I just feel like I've done it all. But no matter what, you have to start with these basic steps. This is something you can do today. This is something you can implement today. So, step one is start small. Starting small means that the tasks you give are small. For example, getting the mail, loading their own dirty dishes in the dishwasher instead of piling them on the counter or in the sink or leaving them on the table, taking the trash out of their own bathrooms. In this step, starting small, you are working on them building a habit. They don't have to do 10 different chores every single day or every single week. Instead, you start small and you just incrementally build this habit of doing chores. Once the habit is in place and they've learned that you mean business with them doing chores, you can add to the list. But to start today, start small with something simple and quick. Step number 2, write it down. Write down the tasks or chores that you are giving them. This is going to allow you in the future, once the habit is formed, to create a chore chart. In the course I offer, Home Organizing for Beginners, I teach you in detail how to make a chore chart. I'll drop the link for you below in the show notes. You'll learn the steps to laying a solid foundation of home organizing that includes cleaning, one that you'll build on throughout your entire life. Anyhow, that link will be in the show notes. When you write down the tasks, this also helps you remember what you asked of them and to be consistent and to follow up or follow through with them. So step number 3, ask them to help. I always used to think I needed to be in charge. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in charge, so you'll just miraculously do what I say because, well, I'm in charge. Well, too bad that that just does not work. For one of my kids, if I tell her she should do something, she actually works harder to do the complete opposite. So yeah, remember I told you that nobody knows your kid better than you? It's so true. Anyhow, in step 3, you are going to ask them to help. I've learned that asking them to help with something is much more effective to getting the job done than to demand they do it. They are helping when they're doing chores. They're contributing to the good of the entire family, not just doing something for the sake of having them do something. Step number 4, be open to reminding them. Remember that kids really don't care about cleanliness. If your kids do, then it's likely that you aren't even listening to this podcast right now. It can be frustrating to constantly remind them to do the chores you asked, but there is a certain amount that you'll find is acceptable. There are also different ways to remind them. Maybe you've verbally told them they need to take out the trash. You can also write a note and put it on the refrigerator. And in today's age, if your child has a phone, go ahead and text them. Get creative so that you don't get frustrated. That's what I have for you today. If this episode hits home with you, and I know it does because you and I are a lot alike, I'd love to know about it. Leave me a 5-star review and share what resonated with you the most. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend. I'll be back here next week sharing tangible and simple instructions about home organizing, cleaning, and time management.